Mandarin Chinese constantly ranked as one of the hardest languages in the world to learn. But what if I told you that its grammar is actually easier than English, French, or Spanish? If you've ever studied the language, you know the struggle. French numbers that force you to do math, German has 4 cases, Japanese honorifics that change based on who you're talking to. Chinese developed in the exact opposite way. No verb tenses, no grammatical gender, no plural forms, and absolutely 0 case endings. Let me show you why Chinese is probably the most logical language you will ever learn. Let's start with nouns. In English, you add an S for plurals. In German, you have 5 different plural endings plus vowel changes. And in Chinese, the word never changes. 一本书 one book, 2本书 2 books, 很多书 many books. What about grammatical gender? Doesn't exist. In French, you have, for example, un professeur or une professeure. In German, nouns have 3 genders with almost no logic. In Chinese, a teacher is just 老师, male or female. It's exactly the same word, always. What about verbs? There is no tense marking.
我昨天吃了，我今天吃了，我明天要吃。
Yesterday I eat, today I eat, tomorrow I eat. The verb 吃 is always eat. But how do I know the time? Context words like yesterday do all the heavy lifting. No ed, no ing, no irregular past tense words to memorize. And it gets even better. There are no verb conjugations for different people. In English, it's I eat, he eats. In Chinese, 我吃, 你吃, 他吃. The verb is identical. Case marking? Also no. The subject and object are shown by the word order, not by changing the word itself. For example, I love you is 我爱你 and you love me is 你爱我. The words don't change, just the order does. Compared to German, ich liebe dich versus du liebst mich, where both pronoun and verb can change. Also, Chinese doesn't use conjunctions like and or but as often as English does, nor does it use articles like a or the. For example, instead of saying I ate an apple and drank some water because I was thirsty, Chinese simply says 我渴了，吃了苹果，喝了水. Literally, I thirsty, ate apple, drank water. Instead of a cat is on the table, it is 猫在桌上, cat on table. Meaning comes from word order and context, not from small connecting or specifying words. Congratulations! So far, you've skipped memorizing plurals, conjugations, genders, and cases. That alone saves you hundreds of hours of study. Now, instead of grammar rules, Chinese uses a Lego system. It builds new words by stacking basic pieces you already know. Take the word for eye, 眼, and mirror, 镜. You get 眼镜, glasses. Makes perfect sense. Electric is 电. Add speech, 话. You get 电话, telephone. Electric, 电. Brain, 脑. 电脑, computer. Honestly, a pretty accurate description. Fly, 飞, machine, 机, 飞机, airplane. Open, 开, heart, 心, 开心, happy. Once you learn a few basic characters, you can instantly guess the meaning of hundreds of new words. Compare that to English, where telephone and television share the Greek root tele, while phone comes from Greek and vision comes from Latin. Chinese just keeps it simple. Now let's talk numbers. English has weird irregulars like 11 and 12. In German, the order is the opposite. So 35 is not 53, but 35. French is notoriously chaotic, so 90 is 4 times 20 plus 10. And in Japanese, dates use a completely different system from regular numbers. For example, 3 is sun, but third of the month is nika. Chinese numbers are beautifully predictable. So 1 through 10 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 is just 10, 1, 11. 20 is just 2, 10, 20. 99 is 9, 10, 9, 99. No new words until 100. And time follows the exact same logic. January is just 1 month. December is 12th month. And no naming months after Roman emperors, just numbers. And it is the same when it comes to weeks. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would just be 星期一, 星期二, 星期三. Finally, sentence structure. The basic order in Chinese is subject, verb, object, exactly like English. For example, I study Chinese. 我学中文. What about asking questions? In English, you have to flip the sentence around. You are a student becomes are you a student? But in Chinese, you keep the exact same sentence and just drop one tiny syllable at the end. 妈,你是学生 becomes 你是学生吗? You are a student, 吗? No moving verbs, no helper words like do or does. Just slight raise in your tone, exactly like asking you're coming in English. Of course, Chinese has its own unique hurdles, like tones and writing system. But these challenges can also become much easier if you know how to tackle them properly. But that's outside the scope of this video. If you want me to make a video about the specific part of Chinese you're struggling with, let me know in the comment. Research shows you learn faster when you actually believe you can do it. And when it comes to grammar, Chinese is practically handing you a cheat code. So what is the most frustrating grammar rule you have ever learned in a language? And I would also really appreciate it if you'd consider supporting me via the links in the description below. And if you want to watch another one of my videos, YouTube thinks you should watch this one. See you there. Bye bye.